Just a few here and there that I do want to make a bit bigger though.
Your face said it all to me. I could tell you didn't wanna leave.
I think we need some lower grass through here, so we'll go back to that thick grass cluster.
Who knew what we had become? A monster inside of us. We had it coming along for a while now. We had fire burn to start, but emotions put it out. Just waiting for something to spark again.
And then we'll go back in and just scale a couple of them up again. I was non-uniformly scaling there. You want to try and avoid doing that. Scaling these up too can help reduce the amount of instances you're using on the actual texturing on the landscape to cover everything up. Just making a few of them bigger. Not only does it help with the silhouette, it also helps with using fewer of these grass clumps, which will help speed up your game or your level. Again, we just want to make sure we go in and just here and there choose a couple and make them bigger, just to help break it up.
We fell out, we were the stars with no light, with snow in July, with the earth with light.
And I'm just looking back along our landscape here to make sure everything is blending correctly. And I actually think we could, a couple of these flowering cattails through here would look quite nice behind our pond, just up in here. So I'm going to go back into my paint tool, back to that snakeweed cluster. Make sure everything else is turned off though, so I only want snakeweed. Just going to paint a few of them through here, just to add a bit more yellow amongst our rocks, because the yellow against the browny grey of the rock always looks really interesting. And we can do that anywhere we're looking where we see it looks maybe a bit dark, we can paint some of that yellow in. Maybe a few through here. Alright. Let's just go into our forest here and make sure that there aren't any areas that look bare. Or too bare anyway. We have our rocks back here. Wait, I'm just going to jump behind the rocks. I'll paint a couple more of those yellow bushy pieces through there. And I think we're never really going to see these rocks that closely from our camera. If you were going to move your camera in here, then you should paint maybe some ferns on the rock, some more grass around it. But again, we're never going to take our camera back here, so That should be fine. We're really concerned with how it looks from here, because the camera's going to sweep up through here. And I want to blend the forest to this area a bit better. We are going to place a really large hero tree on either side here of our hills, but it's going to go probably toward the front, and I do want something through here, so I'm going to place by hand now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of paint mode, and I do have a tree here that I've used back here on our rocks in the background. I have this really high resolution, interesting looking tree that moves in the wind, just like dead trees. And I placed that amongst our rock grouping here in the middle to make it look like it's growing out of the center of our rocks. And so I think that tree would look really interesting down the other end. And you're not going to notice it's being used again because they're at opposite ends of the level. So we're going to do that. I can place it this way, but I'm just going to grab this one and duplicate it. Again, remember, when we're duplicating an object, we are saving on memory because it's only reading it into the computer's memory once. I'm going to pull that tree down toward the front here. Make sure it's forward enough. I just want to tie the rocks in with the rest of the trees here on the side of the hill. Again, I'm just going to pull it forward a bit. Maybe like that. I'm going to duplicate it one more time, because I want to place one behind it as well. Again, people are not going to notice it's the same tree because we're going to just rotate it a bit. We're going to scale it down a little bit as well. I'm just going to get in behind it to make sure it's actually sitting correctly. I'm going to rotate it out a little bit more. I'm going to deselect it for a moment. I'm going to move this tree over. And that just helps to break up the difference between our rock to the start of our forest. We could place something else behind it, but we'll wait till we get our main hero tree in on that side before we decide if it needs anything else in the background through here to cover the horizon line. But getting back to what I was talking about with our skybox here, even though I pulled it up a bit higher than it should be and we can see our horizon line, once we cover up our sides here with trees like we have here, you're never going to see that horizon line. And the camera's never going to be pointed that way. It's always going to start. The camera will be starting about here, with our gate and our hero trees in the foreground. So we're never going to see the horizon line once we populate up the rest of the hillside. Alright, so let's just slowly go along here and make sure that nothing looks odd. I'm also just keeping the camera still for a minute so I can see the actual wind movement, the way that the plants are moving, to make sure everything looks correct. Deselect that. I'm going to go back into paint mode here, back into selection. I just want to pull that grass grassy bush section down a bit. It looked like it was just sitting a bit high. Okay, I'm actually going to go into my paint tool here for my landscape and just correct some of the texturing through here, so we may as well do it while we're previewing the rest of the scene. Let's look at some mud. Again, you want to make sure that the tool strength is turned up. Now let's go back to our dried dirt, just here and there. Maybe some more rock again. I'm going to pull back here on my mixing a bit. That's better. Just so we can make it look like these hills here are weathering a bit from the dirt. So we have dirt on the top and stone here on the sides. I'm going to do that all the way through here to make sure that it looks correct. So you might go back to just some dirt through here. I'm going to pull up a bit more on my mixing. No reason to say we can't do the texturing of the landscape while we're doing the vegetation on the hill. Okay. Right. Again, I want to try and avoid filling up this section through here. I don't want to hide that that sunset in the background as much as I can anyway, because our building is going to be in here and it's going to be angled, so we come up the drive. So the building will be, the front of the building will be at an angle like that. So when our camera gets to our building, we're going to sort of pan our camera up to the pond before we turn to the building to go inside the building. So I want to make sure that that stays visible, that sun in the background, that golden sunset in the background. So what I'm going to have to probably end up doing is placing smaller shrubbery through here so it doesn't go too far above the horizon line on either side of the rock there, before we start with our trees again from here around. But let's turn our fog back on. Where are we? So we can get a better look at what it's actually looking like. Exponential height fog, that one there. There we go. And that just, the exponential height fog just helps to make the scene look softer. It helps soften up the God rays as well. Just makes the scene look more natural. Now it may be a bit foggy, like I said. I'm going to play with my fog value once we get a bit more of the scene populated up. I may pull back on the fog a bit. We're just going to pull along here with our camera to check our tree line. You see we are getting quite foggy. It may be a bit strong. We won't know for sure though, like I said, until we get everything populated in. My main concern here is making sure that our horizon line is hidden when our camera pans through. I think it should be pretty well hidden. Okay. Now I do have some bushes that I can place in here, but I can do it through the foliage tool here. It may be easier, I think, to do it by hand, just through this section here, so I make sure that we don't accidentally cover something up I don't want to, as opposed to painting it in and then going in and erasing it. Doing it by hand I think might be easier. I haven't actually brought them in yet, so I'm going to do that now. All they are two different bushes. Where are we? Two flowering bushes. If I can remember what I called them. I think it was the elderberry. Yeah, the black elderberry and the elderberry. So let's start with the black one. Okay, now I'm just going to import the standard elderberry as well. I'm just going to wait for Unreal to compile its shaders here so that, I know you can't see it, but they're showing up grey. One is behind me and one is behind my music overlay. So we'll just wait for it to finish compiling its shaders before I place it in the level, so I can get a better idea of exactly what it's going to look like. No problem, Sniper Echo. I know the feeling. My net died as well. When I first started streaming, I got my intro out saying, you know, who I am. And then, before I knew it, OBS was telling me that my connection had stopped. So my ISP went down. I don't know. It happens sometimes here. The internet in this country is pretty crappy, so... What can you do? Good to see you back, though. I'm just importing a couple of bushy trees so that we can place them up here. And again, I'm doing that because I don't want to place trees over our sunset. I just want something that'll stay quite low to the horizon here on either side. Or probably through till about here, actually. It helps break up the forest as well. You don't want the forest going all the way around. You can have some sections that are open. It makes it look more natural. Okay, the shaders are done. Good. Let's just turn off our fog for the moment while we're placing these things. Alright. Let's pull in one of the elderberries. Now these are quite small. Naturally, they're quite small, bushy trees. Thank you. I'm glad you like the rocks. I changed the color of the moss a little bit to make it a little bit greener. Yeah, just to help to make the moss stand out a bit more. Because the LUT that I'm using pulls back a lot of the green color, but I wanted the moss still to look green, so I just changed that up over the weekend a bit, made the moss greener. Yeah, these elderberry trees are really quite small, bushy trees, but there's no reason to say they have to be that small. We can make them any size we want, so let's scale them up. Again, you don't want to do an ununiform scale here. There we go. Pull it down, 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 down. Too far down. Up, 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 up. Okay. Now I just want to start placing these in the background so they don't cover up our sunset. Even though I only have 2 variations of them, and there's no reason we can't set it down further into the landscape than it should be. Even though we only have 2 variations, because it's so far in the background and the camera is never going to go up behind these rocks, we can duplicate them without anyone noticing when we do our cinematic. So we have our normal white elderberry, which is this one here. I'm just going to open it up so you guys can get a better look at what the tree is. So it's just a small flowering tree here. I have another one which is called a black elderberry, which is the same sort of tree, but it just has a different coloured leaves. It has a darker coloured leaf. So let's pull one of those in as well and scale it up. I always do this non-uniform scale thing. There we go. So around about the same height. We can make it a little bit bigger if we wanted to. And let's position this one as well. I'm just going to pull up here. It's a similar thing to when I was working in Eon View. You guys were watching me when I was doing the garden terrace in Eon View. I was working to a camera position. I'm going to do the same sort of thing here. So I'm going to go to about where my camera is going to be traveling through my scene to position these bushes so that I don't cover up my background there. I'm going to deselect that, and you see that this darker elderberry has a nice reddish tone to it. Just helps to break up all the green. The same way that the yellow flowers help to break up all the green. So we're going to select both of those again, and I'm going to duplicate them. I'm going to pull up here for a minute, and I'm going to move them over. I'm going to pull the one in the background there forward. We'll take this one up a bit. Just deselect it so I can get a better overall look. But again, I'm keeping, while I'm positioning them, I'm looking from where my camera will be. Now you see we're getting that in our silhouette, it's looking very flat. All the bushes are the same size. I want to avoid that, so I'm going to select the one in the background and scale it up. And I'm going to scale up this one here a little bit as well. Just to help break up that background line that we were getting. And that's probably... oh, a camera bookmark. I didn't know that. Cool. That's good to know, Sniper Echo. Thanks for that. I'll look into doing a camera bookmark. It's not something I'm familiar with, but I'll look into it. because we haven't set any cameras up yet until we finish actually finishing our landscape and importing everything. I'll do the cinematic at the very end, but doing a camera bookmark will be very useful because there are certain angles I like to look at over and over again to get an idea of how the landscape is coming together. And that's, you see how that's just helped to fill in our tree line, how to blend, it's blended our tree line into our rock formation, but it's not covering up our glow in the background. Whereas if I'd placed trees all the way back here, that would all be covered up. And I don't want that because I like the way that the sun plays through the rock. So I didn't want to put trees, I don't want to put trees all the way in the background. Sniper X says it's a down arrow on the top left of the viewport. Oh, I see. Okay. That's really cool, actually. Stores the viewport's location and orientation. Thank you for that. That's actually really handy. So then I'm assuming when you want to select it, you you go here, jump to bookmark. Good to know. That's a great tip, Sniper. Okay, thank you for that. So that means if I move my camera back here, I can jump back to that bookmark, yeah? Yep. Excellent tip. Thank you very much. That will make work much easier than jumping back to specific scenes here in the editor. Going to pull in here. That's it. No, that's a great tip. Thank you for that, Sniper Echo. A really great tip. Again, the Unreal Engine here, the new one, I've used the UDK version, and I'm familiar with Unreal. I've used Unreal for a while, but I didn't know about that. Well, you only learned it recently? I didn't know about it. It was news to me, so it's a great tip. There you go, guys. As Sniper Echo has just said, use the bookmarks here. So if you're getting, if you're creating your environment to a specific position, like, and I place my viewport here because I know my camera, when I do my cinematic, will be at about this level, looking up like that. Creating a bookmark so we can jump back to it quickly and easily is a great tip. Really great. So yeah, thanks for that, Sniper Echo. It's really useful to know. Let's just get an angle going here that we like. There we go. Let's create our bookmark. I'm going to use it all the time now. Let's turn our exponential height fog back on so we can get a look at what's going on here. Cool. Sniper Echo says he thinks that each bookmark is bound to a number key, which is, again, really useful to know. I'm just looking for my my fog object here. I want to turn it back on. That'll give us a better idea of what it looks like. There we go. We've textured up one side of our hill. So we've gone from our pond here all the way back to the beginning where our gates are going to be. So we have the other side here to start doing, around back to the front again. We can start working on that probably tomorrow. I think we may leave it there for today though, guys. I do want to thank you guys very much for hanging out and watching. I will be back on again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US. Hopefully my internet won't crap out again like it did today. Oh, and thank you, SciDad72, for following my channel. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it, guys, when you follow me on Twitch. So thank you, SciDad. I will be back on again, like I said, tomorrow at 5 p.m. I always post to my Twitter account at PhilDoes3D when I go live. So when the countdown is on to 10 minutes, I'll be posting to my Twitter page. So when you see my Twitter posts go up, I'm live. You're quite welcome, Sniper Echo, and thank you for popping in. Thank all you guys for popping in and for watching. Like I said, I do appreciate it. I will be back on again tomorrow, and we'll continue doing the vegetation and foliage for our world here. Again, we're going to be creating an Art Deco building, interior and exterior, but this is the landscape that's going to be sitting in when we create our cinematic. So again, thanks guys for hanging out and for watching. Sorry about dropping out at the beginning. I'll be back on again tomorrow at 5 p.m. and we'll continue with this. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you guys.